What's up, guys? Welcome back to Nightly Crypto. I'm Nightly, and today we're talking about the differences between WISE token and HEX. And I've been into HEX from the very beginning of launch. I read the contract. I understand it. I understand it to its very minute detail. So I am qualified to explain to you what the differences are because I'm the creator of WISE token and I understand every intricate detail of the HEX contract. And let me tell you, WISE is completely different. And I mean not even close. And so I'm going to get into every single difference, well, at least all the major differences that will really show you how it is different. But I don't want anybody out there thinking that this is a copy paste of the HEX contract. First of all, if it was, then it would already be live and there would already be users for it, because it doesn't take much at all just to copy or fork the same contract. This is something completely new. I have 2 lead developers working on this full time that are very skilled in Solidity and that have already found some issues and things that the HEX contract couldn't solve that we were able to solve for WISE. And I'm going to explain what those are in a minute. But basically, the reason why WISE came about is because I was very interested in HEX at the beginning. I love the central idea. I love the core idea. But from the very start, I said the issue I see is that it's not truly decentralized because there's too much control with the origin address, and I didn't like the idea of the flush address either. And so I was okay with it until I confirmed that there was recycling going on. The recycling of the Ethereum from the adoption amplifier back through the adoption amplifier again and again and again to dilute the token. And it also didn't help that, funds from the flush address that were being recycled were also being used to buy up HEX on Uniswap to pump the price, and that Richard Hart was bragging about it, acting like that was organic and not completely fabricated by himself. So unfortunately, even though I like the idea of HEX and I was invested in HEX, I just ended up having to basically pull a Thanos like in this clip.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
So that's pretty much me with WISE token. It is being built from the ground up. It is no part, not even one line of code is being copied over. And so let's go over the specific changes. And by the way, if you want to follow along with these specific changes, then come on over to our WISE token group on Telegram, link in the description below, and it's pictured right here, t.me/WISE token. And by the way, while we're on this subject and taking a small break, smash that like button. We've got too many people who are just being haters right now, even though I'm doing the unpopular thing to bring you the information that is going to save you money and keep you from being duped by a completely fraudulent system. So smash that like button and counter the hate mob, be part of my like army, and like this video. But anyways, if you go into the Telegram group and you type !HEX, it will tell you all the differences between WISE token and HEX. And so here's the first one. The first one is that it's impossible to recycle the Ethereum sent to buy WISE because all the Ethereum is held by the contract until after the 50-day launch. Whereas on the other hand, the ETH used to buy a HEX token is able to be recycled and is being recycled at a rate of 95% recycled to 5% organic. So right there, just in the first point, you can see that it's not a 350-day launch, it's a 50-day launch. And if you look into our white paper, which is also in the group, you can find the link there as well. You can see that it's nowhere like the HEX launch. First of all, there is close to 1 billion every single day, and there's variable games. So every single day isn't a constant amount of supply offering. There's some RNG games and there's some stable days as well. It's a completely different concept, and every single day is open from day 1 to day 50. And even before launch, you can still send Ethereum to the contract to any day you want. So as soon as it's live, you can send Ethereum to day 1, to day 2, to day 50, any day you want. And this is going to be a much better system. It's going to screw over nobody because everything is open and there's no worry of any type of FOMO that's going to go on because it's just not built the same way. All right, so number 2, Wise has a referral program that generates interest for sponsors when the referrals stake Wise. So this is something completely new and unique that is not found anywhere in HEX at all. So just like when you stake HEX, you will get, and the same thing with Wise, you get shares, and those shares determine how much interest you're going to get every single day. Staking is not something that's unique to HEX. A lot of projects stake. But what is unique to Wise is that the referral program continues on after launch. So all the people that you work so hard to refer, you're going to be able to keep them with you because when they stake their Wise, they're going to generate shares for themselves, but they're going to generate critical mass shares for you. And, if you have a lot of referrals, you're going to be able to make residual income because there is a little piece of inflation, of total inflation, that gets set aside for the referral program and paid out every single day as interest. That's incredible, and that doesn't exist in HEX. It's something that is completely new. All right. Thirdly, Wise does not penalize its users for claiming their stakes late, where HEX penalizes end stakes after 2 weeks, and the shares don't go away. So HEX was not able to solve this issue. I guess they're developers. I'm sure they're smart, but not smart enough. They weren't able to solve the issue, and so they had to have late stake penalties. Where in Wise, as soon as your stake ends, the shares disappear. You don't have shares anymore after the stake ends. But there's also no late fees as well. And so this is good for a number of reasons. First of all, so that you aren't losing money if you aren't able to end stake on time, because the shares have already disappeared. It's completely dormant. But you just need to, run the function and collect it when you're ready. This is good for tax purposes, and it's also good because there are laws in the USA that say you cannot tax or take away the assets of somebody who passes away. So let's say if I had a stake and I passed away before ending the stake, it would actually be illegal for that money to be diminishing, because you're basically taking away money from a dead person. They can't do anything about it. So this is something that is not actually legally compliant in HEX, that will be in Wise. And we have lawyers on retainer. We have them overseeing the project. We're going to have a lawyer's memo written up. So we're going to not only have it audited, but we're going to have basically lawyers' approval as far as this system checks out. All right, Wise allows for interest to be accessed early, where HEX doesn't have this function. So in HEX, you can't access your interest early. You get it when you end stake. And in Wise, you don't get penalized on your interest if you end stake early. So you get penalized on the principal, but your interest is your interest. Nobody can touch that. So if you end stake 50% through your time, well, you're going to lose 50% principal, but all the interest that you generated, that's yours. Nobody can touch that. I don't think it would be right to take away interest from a person because they earned that up to that certain point. Now you can. Now, we do have a small penalty for accessing your interest early, though. So we allow, if you have a stake and you need to access some interest early, you can run the function to do that. And there's a penalty, because if we didn't have the penalty, then the system could be gamed and people would have, thousands and thousands of little tiny stakes, and it would compound and it would just break the system. So we have to have a little penalty. It's roughly 2% penalty if you want to access your interest early. But if you end stake early, the interest isn't going to be touched up to that point. And if you end stake on time, you get all your interest. It can never be penalized. So that's something I really like about the Wise contract. And that's something I think will be a really big selling point as well. All right. Next, we have Wise as a nonprofit project that uses 90%, 95% or more of its funds to create an instant market on Uniswap. So it's a nonprofit project that takes all the money, as much as possible, minus the cost it takes to actually pay the developers and build it, and it sends all of that to Uniswap to create an instant market. Where Hex takes all of that Ethereum for its own purposes. Like, let's not even talk about recycling right now. Let's just talk about the fact that ETH isn't being used towards the project at all, which is, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying Wise is way better because it is using the Ethereum towards the project. Hex doesn't, and it doesn't use the Ethereum for the project, and it has an origin address that copies 50% of the entire Hex pool. So you're not only is your money going away and not being used towards the project at all, which is like not great, but you're also getting diluted by 50% by this origin address that is getting 50% of the tokens. How about that? I mean, we're talking way different, way different. All right, and lastly, Wise only dilutes its token for the referral program, which constitutes of 10% max dilution for 10x adoption, which is a 90% net increase. So it doesn't dilute, it actually does the opposite of dilution 9 times over, where Hex dilutes by 50% from the origin address, just like we talked about, which means your tokens are 50% less valuable compared to because of that dilution. So here's the way this works. I told you about the critical mass shares being generated to generate long-term income for the referral program. But during the 50 days of launch, there is a referral game, and the referral game goes like this: the more Ethereum you can refer to come in and buy Wise, you get up to a 10% commission on that. And so let's if you refer 1,000 Ethereum total, you're actually going to get 90 Ethereum in Wise total back, which you can exchange for 90 Ethereum on Uniswap if you'd like and cash out, or just keep the Wise and stake it. After you reach the 1,000 mark, that's obviously 9% commission, 1,000 to 90. And then after that, you get 10% commission. Every 100 Ethereum after that, you get 10 Ethereum worth of Wise back. And so that extra 10% is a 10% dilution because we're printing more tokens to reward those people who refer. However, in order to earn those tokens, in order to earn that 10% extra, they have to bring at least 10 times as much money in. So it's actually not dilution at all. It's actually the opposite of dilution times 9, because the only way they're able to access that up to 10% dilution is by referring minimum 10 times more money than what they're taking out. So this is why Wise is lean, efficient, and completely different than Hex in almost every single way. In fact, the only thing that's remotely similar is staking and interest. So that core system of locking your tokens away to generate interest, that is the same, but it's not even the same numbers. We're doing everything completely different, and we're building this from the ground up. So that's what the difference is. And I used to be kind of frustrated that people didn't understand me, didn't understand what I was trying to do here. And I'm trying so hard to put this information out in a non-biased way where I'm giving you the information and it's all just complete facts. And I was getting a little bit discouraged, actually, that there were so many people that just didn't get what was going on. And I'm starting to understand it now. And this post kind of sums it up for me, this comment on my YouTube video. And I don't agree with everything that's said here, but I want you to see the central point. It says, sadly, I've been trying to explain to the Hex users on live chat streams. I've come to the opinion that they are in with the scam too. They know exactly what's happening, but denying it, just like BitConnect, so they can make money off of others. They just make a point of saying it's up 8x from the bottom. Never mind that it's 99.9 down from the top. It's Richard buying back in and recycling tricking how the coin is valued. So I don't agree with every single point in there. But the fact that there are a lot of people who are just trying to sweep the facts under the rug, and they're doing so because they want to make money on Hex, that really makes you an accomplice to the crime. There's fraud that's happening. People get thrown in jail for fraud, and it would be like you're an accomplice to Bernie Madoff or something. Like it's ridiculous the way some people are reacting when the facts are all out there and it's so clear, and just hating on people who are trying to bring information, that is not cool. So like I supported Hex until I learned of the recycling. I am not one of those people that is just, crying scam and can't back it up. And I believed in Hex until I understood what the recycling is. I don't like the origin. I didn't like the origin address. I didn't like what the flush address did with the Ethereum. But until the fraud was committed, I was okay with it because it was the best system that I knew of. But now that this has happened, I decided to create my own system because it doesn't exist. And we want it to exist so badly that me and the rest of the team, we're doing it as a non-profit thing because we just want it to exist so much. We don't even care about making money off the creation of it. We just want it to exist so that we can use it as a regular user. So if that doesn't perk your interest, I don't know what will. Come on over to our Wise Token Telegram. It's growing every single day. This is why I'm doing this, guys. I am doing this because every single day people see my videos and they come on over into our Wise Token group and they learn the truth and they see that there is a better option coming very soon. So don't forget to smash that like button. I really need your support right now. This is a community project. It's a community nonprofit project, and that means I need the support of the community as well. So like that video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.